As far as abiotic factors are concerned, abiotic means non-living. In last class we were discussing about biotic factors, living factors which are influencing the development of fish in a pond. And today we will be focusing on non-living factors. Non-living factors are also known by the name abiotic factors. There are number of important abiotic factors, of which the common one are temperature, humidity, salinity, etc. So importance of abiotic factors is that if these factors are not in a proper or in a equilibrium level, that will be influencing the growth and development of fish. So if, for example, if salinity is more, or temperature is more, or humidity is more, or turbidity is more, all this can influence the growth of the fish. Now we will see some of the major abiotic factors. To begin with, it is temperature, because the influence of temperature is that temperature is regulating the metabolic rate, that is how the various activities are going on in a fish. That is known as the metabolism. The total of all the activities in a fish is known as a metabolism, and these activities are actually controlled by temperature. Then if too much temperature is there, that will be affecting the feeding, and if fish is not feeding properly, its size will be smaller. Then growth of the fish as well as reproduction. All these will be influenced by the variation in temperature. So temperature has to be at an optimum or ideal level. Now optimal temperature ranges varies depending on the species. For example, for carp there will be an ideal temperature, or for the tilapia the temperature requirement may be different one. For Etroplus, caribbean, the temperature may again vary. So depending on the species, we can see that the ideal temperature or optimal temperature can vary. For example, warm water fishes like tilapia, they can survive easily at a temperature of 24 to 30. That is why people are rearing tilapia here, because most of the time our temperature will be during a day will be between 24 and 30. So tilapia can sustain very well in such a temperature range. While cold water species like trout is not common here. It is present only in European countries. So there they need a temperature maybe below 20 degrees centigrade. So that is the influence of temperature. Now you can see that extreme effect, high temperature can reduce dissolved oxygen. That is another effect of temperature. The more oxygen will be normally present in cold water. In a warm water, amount of dissolved oxygen will be always less. So when temperature is increasing, that will be not only directly affecting the metabolism and other growth factor parameters, it can also reduce the amount of available oxygen dissolved in the water. So that is an indirect effect of temperature on the fish. While low temperature can slow down metabolism. If the temperature is too low, for example, if it is below 20 or below 15 or below 10 degree, some fish, for most of the fishes like tilapia, which are used to live in a temperature above 24 degree, they may not be able to survive well in such a temperature. So that will be reducing their metabolism as well as growth. So this is an idea regarding how temperature can influence the growth and development of the fish. Now second factor is the dissolved oxygen. Dissolved oxygen is sometimes known by the name DO. The essential for respiration of aquatic organism and microbial process. So for example, in a aquatic pond, different type of bacteria, other type of organisms may be present. But for all these organisms, dissolved oxygen are necessary. Normally, in a normal pond without any pollution or other problems, most of the time we can see that the dissolved oxygen level will be 5 gram to 8 milligram per liter. So if it is in this range, that is suitable for the growth of most of the fishes. But if it is below 5 gram, that means the oxygen level in the water is less, and that can influence the growth of the fish. And so this is how the generally we have noticed that cold water will be carrying more amount of dissolved water or dissolved oxygen. Then influence dissolved oxygen level fluctuate due to photosynthesis, increasing during day. If there is a lot of phytoplankton in the pond, and those phytoplankton will be undertaking photosynthesis, and as a result, as the day is going on, we can see that there is a slight increase in the amount of dissolved oxygen because of more oxygen released by planktonic organism, and respiration, and that will be decreasing at the rate. So dissolved oxygen has a effect on photosynthesis that will be varying due to photosynthesis and respiration. And similarly, decomposition of organic matter also depletes the dissolved oxygen. For example, if a lot of decaying plants are there, decaying fish are there, for this decaying process they will be utilizing a lot of oxygen, and as a result what happens is that the amount of oxygen dissolved in the water may be gradually reduced. So that is the problem of decay. Then low dissolved oxygen, what are the effects of low dissolved oxygen? Last year we have studied about hypoxia. Hypoxia is a situation in which there is not sufficient oxygen in the atmosphere. So, and anoxia. All these will be leading to different type of metabolic stress, different type of diseases, and finally that will be resulting in the death of the fish. So this is an idea regarding how the variation in dissolved oxygen, how low dissolved oxygen can lead to the death of the fish. Now third factor is the pH. Coming to the pH, you know what is a pH. The normal, ideally there is a pH range called 7. 7 is the most suitable pH for most of the living organisms. That will be determining acidity as well as alkalinity to water. That will be influencing both biological process as well as a chemical process in a pond. Now normally the most suitable pH range is between 6.5 to 9. So most of the fish can manage well even if the even if the pH is slightly more towards the alkaline side. Even if the water is slightly alkaline, most of the fish can survive in that. That is why even up to the level of 9, we can most of the fish can manage. So this is the optimal range. Now what are the influences? The photosynthesis by phytoplankton raises pH during the day. So for example, when the plants are undergoing photosynthesis, that will be releasing a lot of oxygen, and that will be also increasing the pH. So that is one effect, while respiration and decomposition lower it at night. So that is so this is how the pH can vary. That is, in the day the pH can become more alkaline. During night, because of respiration, the pH can become more acidic. Now extreme effect, high pH can lead to ammonia toxicity. That is an effect of high pH, whereas low pH can stress the organism and affect the formation of shell in many crustaceans like prawns, crabs, etc. So this way the pH can have a detrimental or direct effect on the survival of fish species as well as crustaceans. Now fourth one is ammonia and nitrate. Now coming to the ammonia, both are toxic products or poisonous products of organic matter, are toxic byproducts of organic matter decomposition and fish metabolism. The uneaten feed, fish excretory matter, and as well as decomposition of organic debris. These are some of the important sources by which ammonia and nitrate are developing in water. And their level is normally for ammonia 0.02 milligram per liter is the considered as optimal level. If it is more than that, that is not suitable. For nitrate, optimal level is 0.1 milligram per liter. And so if ammonia and nitrate are above the optimal level, that will be leading to what you call different type of stress, biological stress, physiological stress, metabolic stress, and that will be reducing the growth of the fish and also damaging the gills. So gills may be getting damaged because of high ammonia or nitrate content in the water. Then fifth one is alkalinity and hardness. Alkalinity, is the high pH. That is known as the alkalinity. Normal alkalinity should be between 50 to 150 milligram per liter. and that is the normal alkalinity of calcium carbonate. Normally alkalinity is measured in that value 50 to 150 milligram per liter as calcium carbonate. So why it is essential for osmoregulation and shell formation. That is, if alkalinity of the water is less, that can affect the formation of shell in crustaceans like prawns, crabs, etc. So, and also can create problems for osmoregulation, that is removal of water and salt. Then influence insufficient alkalinity can lead to pH fluctuation. There can be differences in pH. Where low hardness can create problems for example, normal hardness should be between 50 to 200 milligram. So you might have observed, if you go to the seashore area, you take water from a pond most of the time, you may find that it is difficult to lather, it is difficult to use soap in such water because the soap may not be dissolving or forming properly. So in such waters also where hardness is more, fish may not be able to survive properly. Then the turbidity. Turbidity is another factor. So influence of turbidity is that it measures the clarity of water, how clear the water is. It measures water clarity and can be influenced by suspended particles, by phytoplankton and organic matter. For example, if during the monsoon season, if you look at our river, most of our river look yellowish, orangish, sometimes a deep red. So why this is happening? Because a lot of laterite soil, red soil coming from our high ranges will be carried by this rainwater and will be dissolved in that in our river water. So too much amount of this dissolved particles, dissolved suspended particles in the water can reduce the passage of light through that. So that means we will say the water is not clear, water is very turbid. So this turbidity is because of the presence of suspended soil particle most of the time. The moderate turbidity helps to reduce predation on small fish, because one advantage of moderate turbidity is that it reduces the light penetration, so that fish can have lot of hiding places. Otherwise, if water is completely clear, just like this, the birds and other predators can easily find the prey. But excessive turbidity reduces light penetration, and if the water is not at all clear, what happens is that completely reddish or completely orangish. And in such situation, the planktonic organism, especially phytoplankton, may not be able to get the light it needed for the photosynthesis, and they may not be undergoing any photosynthesis. Then optimal turbidity is between 30 to 60 NTU. That is how the turbidity is normal. That is nephelometric turbidity unit. NTU is the unit of turbidity, and this is the ideal range for most of the aquatic organism. High turbidity can clog or block the gills and reduce the dissolved oxygen and also interfere with the feeding or block the feeding. So these are some of the important effects of turbidity, how turbidity of the water can influence the growth and development of fish. Then next one is the salinity. Salinity affects osmoregulation. Osmoregulation mainly refers to the removal of water and salt from our body. That process is known as osmoregulation. And for salinity, there is also an optimal range, that is between 30 to 35 ppt. So that is the salinity requirement for marine species. Whereas for salinity requirement for freshwater species should be below 5 parts per ppt, 0.5 ppt parts per thousand. So the importance of salinity is that insufficient influence of sudden changes in salinity. For example, during heavy rains or evaporation can stress off. For example, when fish which are used to live in a high salinity water, lot of rain occurring in a day or day or two or throughout a period of week, that can reduce the salinity of the water. When salinity of the water, fish used to live in high salinity water may find itself in a stress. So that is the meaning of the sentence. Sudden rain or as well as a drought or can also influence the growth of the fish. The next one is the light and photo period. Light will be regulating the photosynthesis of affecting DO level as well as a primary productivity. That is how the light can interfere with the growth as well as productivity. Longer photo period promotes planktonic growth. Photo period means the length of the day. Sometimes in Kerala we have almost 12-hour day, 12-hour night. But if you have friends in Europe, they will be telling that they have less daytime. Most of the time it will be night. So that is how the winter will be there. So longer photo period promote phytoplankton. That means if the day length is more, instead of 12 it is 14, or if it is 18, then the more photosynthesis can take place, more oxygen can be released. Whereas a shorter day length can affect the photosynthesis, less photosynthesis will be taking place, less oxygen will be released. So this is how the light and photo period will be influencing. And similarly, carbon dioxide, the necessary for photosynthesis but is harmful in high concentration. You know that carbon dioxide, water combines to form glucose in presence of chlorophyll. That is what we call by the name photosynthesis. So carbon dioxide in high amount, in a moderate amount is always good. But if the amount of carbon dioxide is more, that can lead to what is called carbonic acid formation, or it can increase the acidic nature of the water. The ideal carbon dioxide is less than 10 milligram per liter. That is ideal carbon dioxide. And its influence on respiration and decomposition, they will be releasing carbon dioxide, and its accumulation can lower pH. So that is main problem. Too much carbon dioxide means for development of carbonic acid, that carbonic acid can reduce the acidic, reduce the pH or increase the acidity of the water. The next one is the water flow. Ensure that even distribution of nutrients. If the water is stagnant, not moving, that means the nutrients, oxygen, waste products, all will be available in certain area. But if the water is moving thoroughly, that will be properly distributing oxygen, nutrients, and also waste products. So this way the flow of water as well as mixing of the water can influence the growth of the fish. Stagnant water leads to stagnification. That is one problem. Reducing the DO at the bottom. Well, proper aeration and mixing enhance pond. So a water that is moving can sustain more amount of fish. A water that remains stagnant, as in the case of pond, there is no movement in the water. That means dissolved oxygen, nutrients, etc. may be concentrated in certain areas of the water only. So managing these abiotic factors is very essential in an aquaculture. For a regular monitoring and appropriate intervention like aeration. If there is a shortage of oxygen, we have to supply more air, and pH adjustment. If the pH is more towards alkaline side, we have to reduce the pH to around 6 or 7. So all this can improve the productivity or how much amount of fish will be surviving or growing in an aquacultural pond.